Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for coming out.
It's good to have you here.
Well, it's good to be here in Philly, next to Uncle Bobbie's.
I know. So we have to give you an official Philadelphia greeting.
Okay.
Welcome to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, did you know that part was in there?
Yeah, no, I didn't know that sisterly affection had been added since the last
Yeah,
time
we
I
have to
was
make
here.
sure we
Well, that's
include
good.
that. Yeah, thank you. So Editor-in-Chief, you're here to talk about this fabulous book. This book is really a manual. It gives us guidance and inspirational quotes to help us cultivate beauty in and outside. We want you to tell us what is it that you hope everyone gets from this book.
Well, you know, I certainly, I'll tell you, I wrote the book because I was traveling the country and I was hearing far too much survival talk among us. And I know that we weren't created to just survive, we were created to thrive. And, you know, I only write books when there's a conversation that needs to be had. Certainly the last one was a conversation around Michelle Obama and certainly the work that I had done with her. And I was so moved that I wanted everyone to be the commander-in-chief of their lives. So I wrote Editor-in-Chief because I wanted us to, it had 3 tenets and I wanted us to own them all. Certainly number 1, own your life. Number 2, celebrate your truth, which is to say your inner and outer beauty, and certainly to master your purpose with distinction. And I said if we just connect the dots on those 3 things, then things are going to be fine. No matter, the whole world could be out of order, the orbit's out of sync, but if we connect the dots in each of our own lives, then things would be in order. Yeah.
Now, I described the book as a manual, and for me, it was that. This is the kind of book that you sit with for a while. How many people have already read the book? Good. Well, we're going to have many more people read it after this conversation today. My book is a little beat up already. I've only had it for about 4 days, but this is the kind of book you're going to throw it in your bag, you're going to read it in the bathtub, you're going to take it everywhere, because it gives you just so much great advice. It took me a while to get through the first part of the book.
Well, you know, the first chapter is really the work, because the first chapter asks you to own the queen that lies in you. And each of us has to decide whether that's a challenge or an opportunity. Certainly it talks to you about knowing your value, because, you know, I believe that self-perception is the key to everything. It defines your life code, your love code, your dress code, who you surround yourself with. It talks to you about treasuring your vision space, which is your mind, and, you know, the kinds of things that you shouldn't allow to dwell there, and being a point guard to that sacred space. And, you know, it walks you through all the paces. So chapter 1 is the place where folks linger. Chapter 1 is where people fill up the notes to self at the end of that chapter. And but it really is it's what I call the kitchen table talk. You know, whenever you sat at the kitchen table with your aunties or your grands, you know, it was going to be some tough talk, some real talk, some talk that was going to do this for you.
Yeah.
And that's how I envisioned chapter 1.
And that's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
I kept stopping. I would text my sister, and I'd say, oh my gosh, she said this. And then I would call someone else and take a bunch of notes. It's amazing. So you talk a lot about finding your purpose, and I think that's a common theme in this book. One thing I really like about the way this book is positioned is that depending on where you are in your life, this will speak to different people in different ways. I'm on a purpose journey right now, trying to fulfill a vision of mine. So you say something in the book that I really, really love. You say that when it comes to defining your purpose, one thing is certain: you must ignore the voice of reason to uncover and thrive in it. Can you talk about ignoring the voice of reason?
Yeah. A lot of times, for example, we will allow opportunity to wave potential goodbye. What do I mean by that? You know, let's say you get an offer for that 5 or 6 figure job, and you'll take it because the revenue sounds great, but that gift that lies in you, that thing that is your divine assignment that was given to you to create an empire, if you utilize that and visualize how it will serve others, you'll do better than the 6 figures. And you'll also do something that you were created to do, something you'll enjoy doing. That ceases to be a job. That's purpose, that's destiny. And so, yes, you have to ignore the voice of reason. A lot of times what you've been gifted to do does not exist. There is no title for it. A corporation may not have a line item for it. But the reality of it is you have to understand where and how you can best make your contribution. I remember a few years into my tenure at Essence, there was a position that I pitched for, the position of cover editor, and so I became beauty and cover director. No magazine had had a cover director before. What does a cover director do? I wanted to brand the cover of Essence magazine so that in its competition on the newsstand with what was maybe 1,000 other titles back then, that it was distinctive, that you knew that wherever you saw Essence, even if the logo were covered up, that was a magazine for women of color.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean, that, you know, you have to ignore the voice of reason. Reason would say, oh, that's not a job. And reason would be right. It's not a job. It's a destiny. Yeah, it's a purpose.
That's awesome. You talk about not working, not it feeling like a job, and you talk about a conversation you had with the late great James Baldwin. You want to talk a little bit about that?
So, you know, at Essence, everyone visited the magazine because it is still a safe haven. And so Brother Baldwin came to visit us back in the 80s, and it was just a few of us. It was myself, Susan Taylor, maybe one or two other editors. And I was in awe. And we sat with Baldwin, and here was this descendant of slaves, Harlem dweller, who was yet also beloved in France, and you know, under attack from time to time here with civil rights and what have you. And Baldwin talked about how privileged we were to do the work that we were doing. And you know, he had the kind of persona that filled a room. And that made you, like your grandmother would say, sit up straight and put your shoulders down. And so, you know, after that conversation, I never went to work a day in my life because Baldwin talked about that joy that you own, that you really own your joy, and that you really don't look for outside validation or outside purpose to stoke it. So there was a joy in that which we were privileged to do, to serve millions of black women, to have black women turn to this magazine every month to hear what someone like me had to say that affirmed their beauty. That's not work.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was a totally different perspective. It shifted my mindset for life. In fact, I never hired anyone to work with me who wanted a job. I only hire, and to this day, I only hire those that want to make a contribution and that are clear what they walk in the door with, because it's the critical work is more than a job. Yeah. It's key to know what you uniquely bring to the table. You know, there's something distinctive about what you were given and the way you execute that gift that lies inside of you. You have to know it. You know, one of the things I always say is that even companies, they really can't pay you for your creativity, your divine brilliance. They can only pay you for your labor. But you have to know the value of what you bring to the table in terms of your gift. You have to know that. Yeah.
Thanks for that. That's very inspirational. You tapped on a lot of great women to help you put this book together. So when you read it, you don't only hear Mickey's voice, you hear the voice of people like Jill Scott and Misty Copeland and Mrs. Michelle Obama.
And Iyanla Vanzant, Lisa Nichols, Sanaa Lathan, Marjorie Harvey, I mean, Yolanda Adams. Because these are all sisters that I know, Pauletta Washington, Denzel's wives, LaTanya Jackson, Sam Jackson. You know, so because I don't believe in untested advice. You see, and I think that's why I spend so much time writing about the importance of having a celebration circle. Because you don't want any untested advice. So I called on women who have been through something and who have lived life and can tell you how to thrive in the valley as well as on the mountaintop. Who can tell you, you know, that your purpose is more than how you look or what somebody could pay you or how somebody feels about how you look or whether you fit in and all of that. and how they stay centered in that, because you must be you must be centered in an identity that transcends the opinions of others, transcends how much you make or don't make, or whether you got laid off or whatever. You have to be centered in an identity that's stronger than all of that. So yeah, I called on them. I called on clinical psychologists, dermatologists, hair restoration experts. I did so much research. In fact, when I found out that over 21 million of us were losing our hair, I went to hair restoration experts, and because I wanted to know, are we processing stress, or is stress processing us? Yeah, so I talk about all of that and ways to refute that. And because I think that, again, that's what a good conversation does. That's what had the kitchen table. There was nothing left on the floor.
Come on.
Yeah. So that's
right.
I dug deep. Yeah.
So if you hear all those that's amen speaking.
That's right.
That's what that is. And that is all throughout this book as well. Your spirituality, your relationship with God is all in this book without being preachy. Right. And I think that's very important, because you find some books that are intentionally religious or spiritual, and sometimes you don't need all that, but this does a great job at balancing real life, balancing the world. You throw a scripture or two in there, right, and it's all good.
I just think that like Marjorie Harvey said, even she's talked about crisis, and she said that you really want to get to know God on the first name basis, because crisis is not the time for introductions. I think that if this is if it's a relationship that you already have, you don't have to push it like that. Because it is a relationship you're comfortable with. I think that faith is nothing if it's not defining your life. If it's just a Sunday kind of thing, then you're going to get a little preachy. But if this is your existence Monday through Sunday, that's a different conversation.
And it just pours on everything that you do.
Right.
Yeah, we talk about your purpose.
Colors, right.
This is ministry for you as well.
Right.
I'm sure you think of it as that sometimes.
I'm about service, not status, and I think that serving us is something I've done all my life. My mother was in the service business, if you will, before me, and so there's no greater joy than being an influence upon someone else's life. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So she said a lot of things already that people are jotting down, writing in their phones. So all throughout the book, you'll see that there are a ton of Mickey Isms.
Yes.
And what are Mickey Isms? And we'll talk about it. But what are they?
Mickey Isms are my unapologetic edicts on the truth. Yeah. It's like how the grands used to have their say-so. Yeah, I have Mickey Isms.
So do people in your family call them Mickey Isms? Do they say, "Oh, there she goes again"? That's one of her Mickey Isms.
No, actually they don't. They are just so used to me speaking in Mickey Isms. Yeah, they know. Like it's a word drop, or here we go, or that's it.
Okay, so I'm gonna read a couple of them, then you tell us what you mean by those Mickey-isms. So one of them is, it's about blazing a trail instead of taking the road well traveled.
Yeah, it's about blazing a trail. It really is. Taking the road well traveled, it's just, it's so easy. It doesn't cost you anything. I really feel that once you step out of your comfort zone, that you really step into your power zone.
Yes.
And you just ought to want to see what you're made of. So yeah, it is about blazing a trail as opposed to taking the one well traveled.
This one I really like. Do you know that self-acceptance is a powerful motivator? Refuse to conform to standards that have nothing to do with you.
Yes.
Yeah, because, and the reason I say that, and I say that over and over again, no matter whether I'm speaking to the youngins at Disney Dreamers Academy or at schools or what have you, because it's what lies inside of you is what has the power to motivate or defeat you. And you really ought to be, I just think you ought to wake up every day excited to be you.
I know that's right.
Yeah. Just you.
Yeah.
That's enough. Right.
I'll read this last one, and this will help us get into the second part of the book. You see, we can spend so much time just talking about the first part of the book before you get into the actual manual and the advice. Don't become adept at doing more while running on less.
Yeah, you cannot give out of your lack.
Jesus.
And we've got to learn how to lovingly say no, because we're giving more yeses than we can cash. And it's exhausting us. It's influencing our health. It's influencing how we feel about the woman who looks back at us in the mirror. We used to be on the bottom of our priority list. Now we're not even on the list. And one of the tests that I have women take is I have them get a round white little cheap paper plate and mark out all your priorities. And what happens is, more often than not, they don't all fit. Then that means you're overtaxed. That you're again giving out too many yeses than you can cash. And life is not meaningful nor fulfilling. You're reacting. You're not even responding. You're not even a participant in your own life. Yeah. So we have to prioritize. Yeah, we have to prioritize. For the Bible girls, I always say, look, if Jesus got in a boat and went to the other side, I know you need a break. You got to find a break. Yeah. I mean, just the reality of truth in that how you honor your temple, how you honor you. And if you don't honor you, you can't expect other folks to get the message.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, let's talk about honoring ourselves a little bit. You spend a significant amount of time in the book talking about self-care and investing into that self-care. I think this was one of the parts of the book that I really, I implemented some of these things already within the last 4 days. I'll tell you what they are in a few minutes. You say it's very important to schedule your self-care appointment. So not just, make the doctor's appointment, but also put in your notebook when you're going to take a long bath, when you're going to get a facial. Can you talk about the importance of scheduling and making time for those things?
Yeah, because first of all, it is a way of treasuring your vision space. And you do have to make time to get still. You have to make time to get still to just know, what's dwelling in your mind. Maybe you picked up some things you can't use, and it's coloring how you see life or how much you think of yourself. So your temple is worth that. A lot of times I say, gosh, we're running through the shower like a car wash. We don't think we're even worthy of a slow bath. We've got these homes with a beautiful bathroom, and we're not using that bathtub. Why? What is it, just for show? Or do you really know that you deserve to schedule that time with yourself, to put that do not disturb on your phone or on your bedroom door and sink in? Get comfortable with your thoughts. Meditate. The elders had rituals. Yeah, they managed a lot, but they had rituals too. Think about it. How many of us sat, between our grand's knees or our mother's knees, and they massaged our scalps?
Yes.
That was a ritual. Right. But they had time to massage our scalp. We run around doing this. Just basic stuff. Just basic stuff. Now that's the real, right? That's the real stuff. So, do realize thinking that we're only worthy of a massage when it's our birthday or Mother's Day? Well, they both only come around one time a year. That's the only time you think you're worthy of a massage. Why can't you gift yourself? We schedule everybody else. I think that we have to get used to seeing our name show up on our schedule. I think we have to stop hallucinating about life and get engaged in our own life. Like one of the contributors said in the book, that we have to be a participant in our own rescue. Stop waiting for someone else to rescue us or to come to answer our needs. We know how to do this. We take care of everybody else. We got to know, the old word says, take care of home first. Basic stuff.
So some of these rituals, they cost a lot of money to keep them up, and that could be a barrier for some people. Do you have any advice or tips for the budgetistas, and how can we enter into this world of regularly scheduling some of these self-care rituals? Sure.
So, one of the things that I recommend, even in the book, like you could go to these places and buy bath salts by the ounce, really cheap. So let's say you go and buy 2 ounces of lavender, and you schedule your Saturday night relaxing bath. And you bought a little bag of lavender salts that you're going to toss in that bag, in that bath, along with some Epsom salt. and you've got a detoxing, relaxing bath that you created for yourself. You created.
And that doesn't cost us.
You can go to the supermarket and buy some almond oil or jojoba oil and mix that in the palm of your hand with your body lotion. Rituals, taking time with you. You.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want us discovering things about our temples in the doctor's office.
No, that's right.
I don't want the doctor knowing our bodies better than we know ourselves. Yeah, right. Right. You know, that's just, again, rituals, honoring your temple, taking care of yourself. You know, trading with a sister, shoulder massages, saving your coins. Okay, so maybe you got a Dunkin' Donuts habit. Instead of put that habit down for 30 days, what kind of coins is that going to give you? To do what? You know, a lot of even these massage therapists that work at places, they will come to your home. You can organize a girlfriend's day, a staycation right in your house. Let's chip in. We're going to all hire this massage therapist.
So we dug into taking care of yourself and your purpose. Now on to the manual. You give us hair, you give us skin, you give us style. Give us your top 3 style tips.
Oh, you know, it's interesting. On the road, I hear women say, you know, I really would love to figure out, you know, my wardrobe, and I want to dress, and I've got a closet full of clothes, and it's still a problem getting dressed. Style tip number 1, again, it comes back to knowing yourself. Great style is based on an appreciation of who you are, not a trend, not what's in store, not what someone else says looks good on you. So I give a whole primer on how to establish what I call your style persona. What is your style persona? Is it classic? Is it classic with a twist, meaning you like a little edge? Are you an elegant dresser? Are you an eclectic mixer? You like to mix things up. So once you discover your style persona, then I tell you how to establish a bankable wardrobe based on that persona. What you should have in your wardrobe. Because a woman with a closet full of clothes really is someone that doesn't know how to dress. You want a bankable wardrobe that's ready to go whenever and wherever you are. And you can look frugal and be fabulous. I give you destinations on where to shop, even for the underpinnings, how to get good undergarments that support your assets but don't cost a fortune. So it really is about defining your style persona. In fact, I cite one of the slogans by a fashion house that really caught my attention a few years back. It was by Burberry. It said, wherever you experience Burberry, it is the same. That should be a style motto for each of us. You know, you shouldn't be like, oh, today I'm all over the place, and then, you know, today I'm this, and tomorrow I'm that, and, you know,
Okay, so what would you say my style persona is from the ones that you've cited in your book?
Chic.
Chic.
Yeah, chic. Yeah.
Great. Okay, thanks. I just want to make sure we're doing some things right.
Yeah, chic, polished and pulled together.
Yeah.
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 Oh, I'm getting a cramp in my foot, y'all. I'm sitting I'm gonna ask this next question. We'll walk around.
All right, I got it.
You know what happens when you wear heels and then, you know.
Yeah.
It's cramp in my leg. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the bankable wardrobe, we talk about having a closet confidential. What is a closet
Conversation.
confidential?
You have to sit in front of that closet. Once you establish your style persona, you want to say, some of you will not be moving forward with me. You don't make me feel good. You put the squeeze on my hips. You know, I'm always fitting with you. And then the shoes, you really only have room for 4 toes instead of 5. You know, yes. And you want to just pull the garbage bag up and send those friends packing. You can give them to Goodwill, give them the dress for success. And then what you're left with is a closet that works for you, that begs for an invitation, that helps you get dressed for work in 2 or 3 minutes. That's what you're left with.
Yeah. And that's your bankable wardrobe.
That's your bankable wardrobe.
And then quickly on hair and skin, you talk about you don't leave anything out. You talk about lace fronts, you talk about the braids, you talk about Botox.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Botox. I thought Botox was a no-no for brown skin, but in or out, Botox.
So here's the reality. Again, This is your one and only life. Life is not a dress rehearsal. This is it. And it's on you to understand what brings you joy. Not your girlfriend, not what somebody else thinks of you, not someone else's opinion. What brings you joy? And what is in your power that pushes you to thrive? So when I talk to the derms about Botox, so yes, we don't wrinkle. Women of color, no. By the time we do get those lines of wrinkles, we've earned every one of them. We're octogenarians, if you will. But we do sag.
Yeah.
And the sun damage does cause us to age. Yeah, so we sag. We do get some fine lines. We lose our volume, that plump that you have in your cheeks, like right now where I can do that to you. Yeah, it goes away. Yeah.
Thank you.
It does that. It does that. You know, when you stop smiling, a few of the lines remain. Yeah. Now, if you don't like them, you, not what anybody else thinks. If you don't like them, Botox freezes those lines. If you miss the volume in your face, whereas you feel that you look tired all the time, fillers are safe for us, and they are using fillers, gingerly on us. Because it's not like, we need syringes full to find our face again or to find our volume. But yeah, but it comes down to what you think, not anyone else.
Yeah, and that brings it to my final question before we get into the Q&A.
Yeah.
Before we can focus on these tips on the outward side, we really have to work on the inside. So what advice would you give to the people in the room tonight who are still struggling with trying to find out who they are or find their purpose? Is there any bit of advice you can leave them with?
Yes, two things. So, number one, I talk a lot about having a celebration circle. And one of the reasons I do that is because your greatness and your purpose were not designed to operate in isolation. So you need those celebrants around you, those people who really see who you are, who value you, who want you to win, who will even not attend your pity parties. They'll snatch you out of them. They'll check you when you make the wrong response. You could call them at 4 a.m. and your business won't be on social media by 9. Celebrants around you. Because those are the ones that remind you, you are so gifted at such and such. Those days if you come home and the boss said you can't do anything right, and your celebration circle says, wait a minute, does he know you're just passing through, that you're not there to stay, and that you not only don't only do things right, you do them well. And you just on loan to him because that's not your real purpose. Celebration circle. The other thing I say about defining your purpose is that you really have to get still to hear it. So much of the way we live our lives is programmed and in sync with the ways of others. Even some of the courses we take in school, or someone told you that you should be doing this or that. But what did the Creator who created you, what divine direction were you given about what you should do? You get glimpses of it, I'm convinced, in your childhood. And through your adulthood, you dismiss it. You dismiss it. You dismiss it. You don't believe it. You don't believe it's possible. So-and-so ain't doing it. How could that be your truth? You dismiss it in your adulthood. Show you what I mean. I played with my dolls till I was 14. When I went to Essence, I knew exactly what to do. I was playing with my dolls. Yeah. I was outspoken as a youngster. Truth, transparency, even when the elders didn't want to hear it. It is no wonder that I grew up and became a speaker. You get glimpses of it in your childhood. Look, God never ordered anything he didn't intend to use.
Wow. What? Say that.
Come on.
He didn't. God never ordered anything he didn't intend to use. Some so-and-so Pirelli makes tires. Mercedes makes cars. Toastmaster, whatever, make toasters. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. And so do you. So if you haven't identified it yet, you owe it to yourself, because you are sitting on your empire.
Yes.
Your empire. And you need to brand it.
Jesus.
Visualize how people will use it.
Come on.
There's a harvest waiting for you to develop, and you just ought to show up ready. Not go to work.
Are you going to do an audiobook anytime soon?
I've just been approached. Yeah,
yeah.
I've just been approached to do an audio.
I need to listen to you like in the morning.
That's right. That's right.
Well, until we can get the audiobook, you can get the real book. They have them in the back. This was excellent. We're going to take a couple of questions from the audience right now.
Hi, my name's Tiara, and I brought my niece. She's in middle school, and I wanted her to get out and get exposure. So, what advice would you have for somebody? She's in 8th grade, and I'm trying to get her to be that strong, empowered woman when she gets older. I know right now it's probably a lot for her, but I want to set her up on the front end so that we don't have to undo stuff later on in life.
Got it. So I think that certainly one of the things for you is that you have to be a great listener. What I just, found, I was talking with a mother down in Dallas the other day, and a lot of times we become mothers/pharmacists. And rather than prescribe her, be a good listener. For her, I would say you need to engage her in 2 things. Networking, she needs to get out of her comfort zone and meet people, and fellowship. They are 2 different things. Fellowship is a deeper meaning, it's a deeper relationship. It's not based on here's my card, your card, what can we do for each other, what can you do for me, what can I do for you. Fellowship is let me get to know you. Let you get to know me. Let's polish one another. Let's pour and make deposits into one another. And let's have real meaningful communication. So I think that. I also think hobbies are a great thing at that age, and not just the things that you like to do, the things that maybe you're uncomfortable with, that you're unsure about. If you like to roller skate and she's scared of ice skating should be in the plan. Yeah, because also that's pushing yourself, and certainly getting to meet people who maybe aren't of the same mindset is a good thing. You don't want to be the smartest person in your circle, especially at a young age. Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll take a few more. Okay, right here.
I had a question. My name's Ivory, and one, I can attest to the social media mentoring because I've been connecting with you for probably about 6 months, and you always respond to everything. That is very true. I wanted to get your opinion, your feedback on, over the last month, we've had a lot of African American women on a lot of covers of magazines, Vogue and Bazaar, and so many others. But obviously Essence has been a staple for so many of these women have been on the cover of Essence in the past. And I thought it was great to have them on the cover, but I almost got a little annoyed, as if, oh, look at these women on these covers, and now there's someone or something because they're on these, I guess, quote unquote white magazines, but not when they were on Essence or anything like that. How do you feel about that?
Well, it concerned me. My first thing was, oh, great, because many of them, I know them, and this is great. I know what it means to their careers. It disturbs me on a personal level, though, because Black women are not a trend. And I'm offended when anybody makes us and our beauty a trend. We are here to stay. And I just think that you should celebrate us, all shades, all shapes, all sizes, all career corridors, our challenges, our triumphs, all of it. And so if the same magazine, if you could look at them, and they've had 2 Black covers in the course of 12 months, even from a business standpoint, given the amount of dollars that Black women spend on fashion and beauty alone, how a force to be reckoned with Black women are in the fields of technology, and just about every corridor you would name. It's an insult. It's an insult. And it says that, America is still not ready to look from an advertising standpoint as it really is. Yeah, I have a problem with that. So if next month, if all the same 7 magazines have, women of other cultures on their cover, and none of them is a woman of color, I just feel like, well, wow, was that trick or treat? What was that? Yeah.
We'll take one last question from some. Okay, right here. You'll be our last question.
I'm sorry. I have to write down. My name is Angela.
Hi, Angela.
And I'm a 9-year cervical cancer survivor, and also a disability inclusion excellence advocate. And I just started a website called thesurvivordiva.com. And pretty much have so much information on both topics, and I wanted to know what kind of advice you could give on writing a book.
Well,
Or
I
getting a
think,
book published, not so much writing because I'm writing it, but getting it published.
well, it depends on whether you want to self-publish, and certainly there's a wealth of information out there if you want to self-publish, or if you want to put a proposal together and to sell to a publisher. There are 2 magazines that I would recommend that you get. One is Writer's Digest, and I think the other one is Writer's Guide. And to really subscribe to them, because it walks you through all the steps of whether you want to make a proposal for a publisher or if you want to self-publish, and how to market yourself, certainly how to put it together, to identify your key message, to identify your target audience, to identify the pain point of your target audience and what the solutions are, because books, more than anything nowadays, particularly in the self-help category, must be full of takeaways. And this is an audience that you want to build and to continue to communicate with. It's not just a one-off of a book. So, certainly in doing that book, what else will you do with that? Will you have a website? Will you have a podcast? How else will you continue to feed this audience that you know exists?
Okay. That's excellent. Thank you.
I think we may have time for one more. Is there one? Is there one in the back? We'll take you.
Hi, my name is Lisa, and first I want to thank you because I grew up on Essence and seeing your face, I'm like just in awe because you are real and you are amazing. So my question is, I would always hear the term, you have to sell yourself. How do we advocate for ourselves when we're trying to reach the next level?
Well, it's 2 things. Certainly, you can't expect others to invest in what you can't expose. So you have to be able to expose it well, expose it in a succinct manner, because people make up their mind in the first few seconds whether they're going to stay around for your story. So you have to be able to expose it quickly, and expose it well in a way that leaves them wanting more. Secondly, you want to establish what I call brand advocates, because it's great when someone else sings your song. And you never know who knows who. So yeah, absolutely. So those are the 2 things, those are the 2 trains that you must have running.
Awesome. Well, everyone, let's give Miss Mikki Taylor